Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you. Getting into SAP, I can say it's a prominent ERP, enterprise resource planning system, and explore its numerous functions and business applications.
Today we are going to talk about SAP Ariba. As you may know, Ariba is not a SAP company. It was their one company. I think it was established in 1996. Ariba was established and then they were very good in procurement solutions, business applications and procurement solutions. They went to cloud solutions in 2011 or something. They were very good in networking also. SAP has proposed them in 2012. They want to reach to the global level. If it is Ariba as a standalone Ariba, they will not be able to reach to many business networks. They want to have a wider range. That's why they accepted Ariba acquisition by SAP. Since 2000, Ariba has acquired it in 2012. From 2012 onwards, it was provided only as a cloud solution. Ariba was available as an on-premise as well as a cloud solution. On-premise. You already know what is the standard procedure of operating in an on-premise solution because the consultants or the engineers need to be at the client's location and install the application. Do all the testing once, go live, provide your support, and then you will be leaving from the project. Coming to the cloud solution, it is no more required. It is an application you can be able to access anywhere in the world. That would be the main advantage. And also you don't need to maintain hardware costs as well as installations by engineers visiting to your workplace. That is not required. And hardware costs itself is a huge component because we need to have air-conditioned and cooled environment to maintain our service. If there is some damage that has happened, that is affected to you only, I mean your company, and that will be a huge loss. Now, since Ariba is a cloud platform which is providing a solution, it is the responsibility with SAP to maintain the server available for 24/7, and they could take care of the security functions as well as application functions. Mostly recent past, the downtime of Ariba is limited to 19.5 or something like that. That means only few hours in a per 3 months. For a 3 months of period, if you are taking about 6 hours or 4 hours, that will be the downtime. Ariba was providing that continuity support. They are having different data centers located, for example, in US and in Gulf side it is established in Saudi Arabia. What is this data center? When your client is taking Ariba application, that will be on a particular data center. All your related data will be maintained in that particular data center. Earlier it was from US and UK. What happened is Gulf countries wanted their data to be maintained in their own region. They don't want to be maintained externally. These are all part of overgrowth from all the data restrictions where you do not want to maintain your data in another country. They are establishing more and more data centers. That's a different topic. This is at least to have an overview. This will help you. And the platform which Ariba launched is called Software as a Service. That means SAP will build the application. You will be using that application like an end user. Not an end user. You will be subscribing to the Ariba application. You will be utilizing it. During normal deployment, what you will be taking is, you will be taking your business requirement. First, consultant will visit the client premises. Here the advantage is, before even you visit the client premises, salespeople might have approached them and they might have already discussed the product features and they will be telling you, we are going ahead with only one module or seat integrated module. Half of the work is already established. Now you need to go to the client's place, explain or provide a demo. As a proof of concept, you will be providing a demo like how the application will be, what is the feature center, whether that will suit your customer requirement or not. If there is any additional things that are required that you need to work with SAP. If that functionality is available, they will enable it. If that functionality is not available, they will suggest for a workaround and wait for another period until that application gets developed. SACCC is the platform software as a solution. Ariba takes care of that. Ariba provides the application, that is only end user access. Basically, your client will be needing only URL and a password. Again, it is a single sign and is possible that you can integrate with your existing authentication method and you can be able to log in. That is a very brief about the Ariba side. What is Ariba? And since, as I mentioned once, it is SAP has acquired, it is having a good wide range. In 2012, the peak has been established. 2718. The sales value of Ariba has gone into a phenomenal increase and they were unable to provide a support also. That is again a different topic. When we raise the tickets with SAP for some configuration or some bugs or some issues or whatever you are raising, the response time is taking time. Then Ariba has internally acknowledged that there is a huge demand because there is a lot of deployment. There are no such resources that are available to handle that because they are the product owners. They know that the coding is not available for the other users. They need to provide the training and other activities for a new register also. That is taking time. Ariba is continuously putting efforts to increase the support, reduce support time. The architecture, the overlay, if you are seeing, we will be having a buyer account. Similarly, supplier will be having one account. This is basically called network. We will be having Ariba network account as a buyer account, as a supplier account. And the third one will be sourcing and contracts, or Ariba spend management. We can call any number of ways in both or outside market. You will be hearing different names. One may be sourcing or contract management, supplier management, Ariba by Ariba invoicing suite, integration cloud solution, web services. All are related to this particular module, which will be this is one user interface. And in user interface, we are saying this will be one user interface. Buyer account will be one user interface. Supplier account will be one interface. We will be having access to Ariba spend management through a URL and password. Once we enter username and password, you will be able to log in to the Ariba spend management. Similar the integration between this and buyer account. This is seamless integration. That means it's in the backend. Ariba take case. Whatever you perform here that is available in buyer account. The communication, for example, a PR is sent to the supplier. This is a simple scenario. The PR is created in Ariba spend management. It will be immediately available in buyer's network. Through buyer network, it will be communicated to the supplier network. Each buyer and supplier will be having different AN ID. It is called Ariba Network ID. Again, now Ariba is replacing the name calling as Ariba Network into SAP Business Network. No more, it is calling Ariba Network. It is calling as SAP Business Network. Maybe in some time, you will not even see SAP Business Network. Because AP has acquired, they don't want to continue using this Ariba network or the network. Functionality has been increased to a vast value. That means even you can able to collaborate with the Ariba supplier network. Without Ariba also, you can able to communicate. That is the reason that has been expanded. Business network, it is calling. From PR to supplier, you will be having one environment called Ariba Spend Management. Buyer will be one environment. Supplier will be one environment. The supplier part will be taken care by the supplier itself. We are not going to enter or we are not going to take care of any support related issues also. What will happen? The supplier will be contacting 24/7 support or whatever. Based on their agreement with Ariba, they will be having their own access. The support will be taken care by them. As a consultant, then we are going to provide support only to these two: the spend management and the buyer. These two are our areas of handling responsibility. Before I continue, is it clear for whatever I have explained? Regarding this network, there are three types of things. You have said right. Buyer account, supplier account, and something contract and spend management, and on similar like this. We will be having any user accounts like that. Like how do we have a recipe like that? User accounts will be both as per Ariba spend management, and buyer will be having no different user accounts. It has to be maintained in three realms. Supplier will be taken care by the supplier. Buyer side is again Ariba consultants or Ariba's management. Many men will be having username and password. Yes, you are right. Who will be taking care of these administration generally? Will it be from the client side or from SAP direct? No, client side only. Your users, when we come into the integration topics, that our user management topics will be extending more. Really, what will happen is users you don't need to maintain in Ariba. You can also integrate with your backend system, or if your HR module is different, maybe what is called Workday or any other HR module. The user can use it. That can be synced with that particular system. Any changes made in that user will be getting reflected in Ariba immediately. Single sign-on is also available. All these things are possible. But you need to have a username and password in order to access it. How we are maintaining user management, that is again our clients need responsibility, not a SAP side. SAP responsibility is to only provide URL username and password is by ourselves. In order to access it, you need to have a URL. That application web post application is the responsibility of SAP. Got it? Thank you. Let's talk about something called modules in Ariba. What are all the modules that are available? It modules when you're staying. It is not actually a module. It is something specific to the business area. Ariba divides this into three processes planned by the third one. You can say monitor. What is planned by monitor will be during planning stage. You're going to create the environment for your end users to utilize it. For that, we'll be having sourcing contract, supplier or SLP. Now Ariba is simplified. The names also. Ariba will be calling sourcing management, contract management, supplier management. You might be hearing the names called contract lifecycle management, supplier, lifecycle performance, Ariba, sourcing, event management. All are related to different naming that you don't need to confuse. In simple words, it is basically sourcing management, contract management, supplier management. What we are going to define here is at this stage, for example, if I'm taking the supplier, how do you supply is onboarded? How do you supply is performance is evaluated? How do you supply is maintained? All these things will be taken care in upstream solution. That is called an upstream solution. Once your supplier is externalized, then you will be having a sourcing. Sourcing means you want to find out source of supply. Here your role will be, for particular commodity or a service, who is the best preferred supplier. That is the responsibility of, again in procurement activity, you can divide it into two. Senior management or normal management. What is the senior management responsibility or senior procurement manager's responsibility will be? Is to develop more and more relationship with the supplier. Having a contractual prices that you don't need to repeat it. For example, your client company is having, they want to purchase particular stationery. Each time a sourcing request or a material request comes to sourcing department, they will find out from the different sources of supply and evaluate them and give you the prices, and then you will be releasing a PO. That is one process. Again next month, also they need stationery items. Instead of keep on continuing every time the same process, what you're going to find it for stationery kind of commodity. Who is the best supplier? You will find out the source of supply for this stationery item for the over period of 12 months. Then you will have a contract with them for the next 12 months sourcing. Anyone is requesting a stationery item, they can directly get from this particular supply. Because we have evaluated, this supplier will be a supplier for their upcoming request. That is what you're going to establish under the planning stage of sourcing. Then again, as soon as your sourcing evaluation is completed, you will be having a legal agreement or you will be having this transaction to go into the buyer side. We'll be using contract management module to establish the legal obligation with the buyer as well as seller having contract. That again, in that contract, you can utilize buying of your stationery items. These are all processes taken care in planning stage. That's called upstream solution. Coming to the buyer side, here you're going to use basically comes something like an end user response. What here will happen is now we already know who is the supplier and for what commodity is best, whether we are having a contractual limits also. Contractual limits also help you in restricting the buying. Suppose stationery is spent for particular company cannot reach more than 500,000. You can have a contract limit on that. They will not able to more than purchase that 500,000 across the company. That is possible during contract management. Now, these are all already established. Now, what end user will do? He will be logging into the Ariba. He will select stationery item, then he clicks on buy now, something like that, add to cart or proceed to the next one. What will happen? System will create a purchase requisition and send for an approval process. Again, approval process will be configuring ourselves. What will approval process can be? For example, if the purchase requisition is less than 500,000, I do not need any approval. Immediately, the purchase requisition will be approved. People will be created and people will be sent to the supplier. You can have an approval process. Any purchase requisition, one supervisor has to approve. Then you can configure in that way. As soon as the user is submitted, it will go to the supervisor and supervisor will approve it. Then you can also have different approval processes, like for example, if asset is purchased, then it has to go to asset manager for his evaluation because he has to give you the asset ID and what is the depreciation he need to maintain. Approval flows can be configured, that is at the buy stage. Here, basically you're utilizing whatever agreement upstream and you will also have once you place the order now. The next step will be receiving and invoicing. That are all process of buying, plan, buy and monitor. Here you are going to do admin activities, which is the user capital. Which user having? What is the approval limit? Whether performance of the supplier need to be increased. All these things we will be seeing under monitoring activity. This is for continuous evaluation. Here what we will be doing. There are two things of now. Whatever we discussed is already there is. A catalog item is available. We are purchasing through, that means there is existing relationship with particular product and supplier is available. Still, you are continuously. Now I have given an example for stationery. Now there is some requirement has come for machinery tools which is not existing in your existing relationship with the supplier. In this stage, what will happen again? You will reach to the procurement department. They will analyze the supplier, source of supply. They will do the activity. At monitoring stage, what they do is they will find out how many number of such items are created. That's called non-catalog item. Under non-catalog items, whatever you are purchasing non-catalog items, those items will be reviewed and they will start establishing a relationship with the supplier. These are all activities. Accordingly, now the modules can be divided as those things. Contract module supplier. This is also called SLP, SAPM, SPM, anything, you are calling the same thing only. Under contract, you will be also called CM, Contract Life Cycle Management. contract comes. Contract compliance. Compliance is nothing but establishing from upstream to downstream, where then we will call contract compliance. Contract comes also, same thing only. Under sourcing, you will be hearing something like events, auctions, RFP, request for proposal, RFI, Dutch auction, English auction, Japanese auction, something like that. These are all part of this particular module. Then we will be having buying. In buying again, you will be limited to procure to order P2O scenario. P2P procure to pay. But this will not come as part of buying. It will stop with procure to order. When we are talking about invoicing, this time we will be called the full solution as procure to pay. Again, sometime you will also hear source to S2O, source to order, source to contract. I will put that as a different scenario. Apart from that, you will also hear catalogs. This is part of buying. Then you will also hear guided buying. These catalogs are part of buying. Guided buying. Don't get confused. Guided buying is again like what you have seen here. This is also one more layer on top of your standard buying process. This will ease the end user's accessibility. Instead of showing go, create and all those things, it will show in a navigation form. That is guided buying. The usernames, passwords all remain the same. There is no additional master data required for guided buying. That we will be talking about as part of the timing also. These are all modules. Sourcing module, content module, supplier, buying and invoicing. These are the 5 modules which are important as a functional consultant. There is also, you might also hear additional things like risk management supplier, risk supplier, spend management. These are all additional on top of this, a few of them exclusively for the particular purpose. For example, when we are talking about supplier risk, the risk evaluated, there will be some companies. They are evaluating the supplier risk continuously. They will be monitoring the share values their marketing spends and how their payments are done. All these things are monitored by these specialized companies. When you are having integration with particular supplier evaluation companies, your risk is also monitored in Ariba application. That is part of the supplier risk. These 5 are the major modules. Ariba provides these modules collectively, or you can take independently also. That means your client can go ahead with only contract management, or he can buy only buying solution. Or he can only take supplier, or he can take combined layers. He can take sourcing and buying if possible. Sourcing and invoicing is also possible. Contract and buying is also possible. Or he can take all together. That is called integrated suite integrated. That means suite integrated environment where they are having access to all the modules. From sourcing to by ending the process, you will be having suite integrated environment. Is this clear? Now, since we discussed this, we also discussed the network. Whatever these activities will be trying to come, Ariba spend management, which will go via Ariba buyer network and Ariba supplier network. Let's take you to the Ariba screens. You can even read that what is called the tab headline will be Ariba spend management. In the URL, whenever you are seeing buyer, this is a tip. Actually, whenever you are seeing a buyer, that means you are in a downstream solution. Whenever you are seeing a buyer like sourcing, then that will be upstream solution. Here, you need to enter username and password. Once you are logging into this one, this is basically called your home page landing page or your Ariba user interface. Before that, I just also need to explain one more thing. Going to the tab. EFP's federated process control. Suppose your client is having Oracle solution as well as SAP solution. Also, he is using Oracle and SAP solution. In Oracle also he is doing procurement. In SAP also doing procurement. Probably, Oracle is being used in Europe countries and SAP is being used in America countries. These two you can integrate with one particular sourcing module. Upstream will be having one or parent side, which generally called integration with downstream Oracle and down child, that is called child. You can have child 1, child 2. Basically, upstream will be having parent and downstream will be having child 1, child 2. To navigate between parent and child, it is possible. The advantage of here will be whenever you're communicating with Oracle related master data, you're going to talk. Whenever you're going to talk with SAP, you're going to talk related to SAP related master data. What is SAP related master data? You'll be having plan purchase, group purchase organization. Under accounting side, you will be having UBS elements or internal orders, cost centers. Suppose in Oracle, maybe they will be having, I'm not sure, from the Oracle side, they might be having different architecture or different accounting types. Whenever we're talking to child side, we can able to talk as per their requirement, but parent can be only one only. You can have one parent, but communication with the child will be in different things. How we will be navigating between upstream and downstream, which I'm going to show you right now. As soon as I log in, on the right hand side, you can see Madam Curie Child. That means I am currently in a child environment and you can see by it. How do I log back to the sourcing? On the next to your name, there is one kind of an arrow site. Once you click on that, then it will tell you what is your parent's name. Click on that. It will take you to the parent side. Suppose your client do not have multiple ERP system, then directly you can access from without having this child relationship, you can able to access it. Now we are in upstream side, you can able to see Madam Curie. This can be configured. How the name you want, that can be configured. Generally, you will be having child where extension will be added. That to refer that as a child side. Whenever you log in, Ariba is only having two environments. One is testing environment. Second is production environment. Whatever during our practice, we are going to do only in test side. We are not going to do anything in a production side. That way, nobody will give you production side access also. And on something like other than like sandbox environment, where you got data in test side and production side is different. But here more 90% of whatever you are doing in test, same thing will be. You are going to perform in upstream also. Look and feel accessing menu, everything remains same. Before you deploy, if you do some changes in production, you need to fix that in your testing environment. Once it is successful, you will be doing the replicating the same thing in production also. It is not possible to do transporting kind of activity. But there are certain activities like you are enabling some parameters as part of the requirement that can be moved to the production after testing. That is possible. But 90% of you have seen like you are changing something, template or template differences or something that you need to replicate. The same in production also. There is no way of transport available in Ariba. Some companies in their companies, they will also take one more site apart from test and production. They might take one more for like regression or some development system that can be used as per their convenience. That means during development side, they will just do whatever they want to do, a trial and error basis. But comes to the test and production, they try to maintain same set of settings in these two environments. That is the scenario. Basically, the client who is having good money, they will be going with because each relay will be costly. The supplier has to pay, the customer has to pay. That's different financial angles. Once you log into the home page, what you are seeing on the right hand side will be user menu where you will be seeing if you were a username. Once you click on that, it will give you options to change your things. For example, you can change your password, change your secret question, change your default locally. Basically, this is useful to navigate from your language, from English to some other language. Japanese language, or Chinese language. You can do that. I think about 13 languages are supported by Ariba, which is in the past. I don't know. It's increasing maybe. You can also use activate your mobile devices. In order to use mobile devices, there is a role. If your role, your username, is added into that particular role. Role is nothing but permissions. In SAP, we have a basis team will be giving you the access. But here it is Ariba consultants, only your Ariba administrator. They will be providing the actions, user preferences. If you're part of that mobile device, what you're going to do is you're going to download the Ariba app from Play Store or App Store. From there, once you click on Activate Mobile, it will give you some, say, 8-digit password or 6-digit password that you need to enter in that interface. Automatically, this login details will be connected with the mobile application. Similarly, later, if you don't want to use that mobile activation, you can click on the Deactivate. That will show whatever the mobiles are activated. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.